Brahma Guru Vishnu Guru Devo Maheshwara Gurureva Param Brahma Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha Chinmayam Yapyat Sarvam Trilokyam Sacharacharam Tatpadam Darshitam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha Tvameva Mata Cha Pita Tvameva Bandhuscha Sakha Tvameva Vedyadravinam Tvameva Sarvam Mama Deva Deva Tvameva Sarvam Mama Deva Deva. Jai Guru. Om Sahana Bhavatu Sahana Bhunatu Sahaviryam Karavavahai Tejasvinavadhitamastu ma vidvishavahai. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. So who do we have online this evening? We've got Mark and Ashley and whom else? Anybody?
Joanna.
Hi, Joanna G.
Hello.
And I think you have a kirtan coming up at the end of next month. Is that right?
Yeah.
Will you tell us about it?
It's going to be June 12th, Friday night at Soma Yoga in El Cerrito. I'll send you something. Yeah, we have a lot of time.
June 12th. Because I know Vishwa and Setu are here. And Setu is the one with whom I went to your thing in Berkeley, I think.
Okay.
Oh, that was Jai Utal. That's right.
Okay.
But they're kirtan lovers.
We'd love to join. Yeah.
Okay.
Fantastic. Yeah.
And we are in the 4th chapter. Mark, what verse are we on?
38.
38.
Oh,
Deepaji, would you help us? Did you have a different one?
Oh, I didn't. I did, but I wasn't here last week, so that's why.
Okay. We won't dock your pay.
Nahi jnanena sadrusham pavitramih vidyate tatsvayam yoga samsiddha kalenatmani vindati. Certainly, there is no purifier in this world like knowledge. He who is himself perfected in yoga finds it in the self in time.
So we're finishing up this whole section of the 4th chapter where Krishna has set forth before us all the various yoga practices, the different things we can do. And then he ends the whole section saying, but all of them, there is no purifier like knowledge. Now we have to understand here, the knowledge about which we're talking is not the acquisition of data. You don't go to a class and take notes. It's very interesting. I think around the Chinmaya mission, this has now changed. But in the old-timey days, Swamiji forbade us to take notes. Yes. He says, because what we do is we tune you up, and then you begin to have an experience of yourself, and then your understanding and your experience come together at the same time. And that's when the mind gets the aha. pratya vijnanam, the recognition. And this is what's transformative. That's very different when you go to a lecture on Vedanta and take notes about the gross body, the subtle body, and the five koshas, and all this kind of stuff. All of that, while valuable, not nearly as important as the direct experience. So what we're dealing with here is what looks like attention. Well, all these practices, should I be doing pranayama? Should I be chanting the name of the Lord? Should I be concerned with diet? Should I be doing asana? Should I be doing pilgrimages? Should I be doing puja or yajna? Krishna says all these are good. But he says there's no purifier like knowledge. Listen carefully. This does not mean that we shouldn't do these other practices. True story. So my friend Wendy has been helping me plan the menu for this little dinner party I'm going to do on Saturday. So she was in the kitchen and she was taking a look at my knife, my chopping knife. She says, "Your knife is dull. No wonder you're having trouble chopping your onions. Fine enough." I made some soup to test out, and she says, "Well, the soup tastes good, but the onion pieces are too big. You need a sharper knife." So she comes over, she brings her sharpener. She's a professional chef. Has a gross sharpener and a subtle sharpener. But no matter how much she sharpened her knife, it didn't chop the onions.
Why not?
You have to chop the onions, not just sharpen the knife.
Oh, it's not
No.
a magic knife.
Just sharpening the knife is not enough. Then you must chop the onions. So also, karma yoga, asana, pranayama, puja, kirtan, bhakti yoga, all of these are valuable. They are sharpening the wonder sword of knowledge. But they culminate then in what we call Atma Vichar. What's that mean?
Self-inquiry.
Yes. Briefly, what does that mean? All phenomena of which I can be aware is anatman, not self. Can you see the bowl on the table? Are you a bowl?
No.
You sure? Can you smell the fragrance of the incense?
Yes.
Are you a stick of incense? Now let's go to the body. Take a deep breath and feel the breath in the body. Deepa, you had your iron infusion. Are you feeling better?
Yeah.
Yeah. Do you know you're feeling better?
Yeah.
You were feeling a little lethargic before. Now you're feeling better.
Yeah.
Do you not know the changes in the body? We know the changes in the body, just like you know the bowl, just like you know the incense. We can go to the mind. Sometimes I feel joy, sometimes I feel sorrow. Sometimes I feel enthusiastic, sometimes I feel depressed.
Yeah.
Sometimes I feel angry. Sometimes I feel very detached. But do not I know these various feelings? They are not self-luminous. Oh, I got bushwhacked. Anger came up. It knew me. I didn't know it. No. You are not your feelings. And we go to the realm of thoughts. The thoughts go by like your hand in front of your face. Or like I like to say, the traffic up and down Grand Avenue. But think the thought in your intellect. 2 + 2 is equal to 4. Now recite Mary had a little egg. Visualize a strawberry. Remember what you had for lunch. That place is called the intellect. In the subtle intellect, there's a particular kind of thinking. Aham kriti. Thoughts of self. I am good. I am bad. I am not worthy. I am powerful. I am weak. Aham, first person pronoun. Kri, to make or to do. Aham kriti, ahankara are the kinds of thinking that make the phony I, the shadow self, the chit-chaya. But we see it rise and fall. We see it change. I went to a concert with a friend. And you know, people at work say, oh, you're doing a good job. He feels good about himself. But now he's going through a period where he feels attacked by people. What did I do wrong? I'm terrible. You know, low self-esteem. Anybody see their mind go back and forth between those things? That's ahankara. That's the manifestation of the phony self in the subtle intellect.
Is that ego?
That's ego, yeah. Ego is simply the Latin, means I am in Latin. Ego. But the point is, if you can see it change, how can it be you? Do you see that? The ego rises and falls. It goes this way, it goes that way. Sometimes it's called karta, the doer. I went to the store. I went to Europe. I had to work 20 hours this past week. I had to work 80 hours this past week. It's the body that's doing the doing. It's the mind having the feelings. It's the intellect doing this, that, and the other thing. Now listen very carefully. One of the names for this phony self, as I mentioned earlier, is chit-chaya. Is chaya also a Hindi word?
Yeah.
It means shadow in Hindi?
Or shade.
Shade, yeah.
Shade.
So chit-chaya means the shadow consciousness, the shade, kind of like a ghost. So if you have a shadow here in the room made by the lamp, and I take a flashlight and I shine it on the shadow, what happens to the shadow?
Disappears.
Because it's not a thing. It appears because of the obscuration, the obfuscation of the light. It's the same with the ego. It only appears when you don't look at it. So the final stage of this Atma Vichara is to take the attentive faculty of the mind and turn it back upon its source. Who am I? When the mind is made pure by all those other practices we've been talking about, we have Chitta Shuddhi, purity of mind, or Sattva. And in the space between the thoughts, the attentive faculty turns within. Who are you? And you see that Chit Jaya, that Jiva Bhavana, it falls. You can't find a person in there. What's there? Aham, not ahankara. Chidakash, not Chitjaya. Chidana, not a miserable creature. Don't believe me. Look. Now, my body is different than your body. My feelings are different than your feelings. My thoughts are different than your thoughts. But when I introvert the attentive faculty and notice the knower, it's tricky because you will never see yourself as an object. You are not unknown. All that's there is the space of your awareness. And when you go through that process, all that's there is the space of your awareness. The self in me is not like the self in you. The self in me is the self. And I am Atma, Brahma. That self is Brahma. It is Krishna. So in the earlier stages, we may be going through a process of purifying the ego sense, the equipment. I may look at the yamas and niyamas of Raja Yoga. I may be looking at adhikari, becoming a fit student. These are very valuable, but listen carefully. Trying to make your equipment perfect is like trying to count to the highest number. How can something that's inherently finite become something that's infinite? But the good news is the self is already Vishuddha. What's that mean? Extremely pure, ultimately pure. You're already okay. You are near Malam. What's that mean?
Unstainable.
Without
No
stains.
day, no stain, no dirt. Achalam. You never move. Kutastha. Established and still like a mountain. Don't believe me. Look. Oh, I looked inside, Jim, and I'm a little gray ball with wings. Okay, who saw the little gray ball with wings? I did. Then you're not the little gray ball. Oh, I was reading Kathopanishad. Meditate on the self as a flame the size of your thumb in the heart. There it is. I must have realized the self. Made me cough. No. Who saw the flame? I did. That's yourself. Oh, great Swami said, visualize the blue pearl. Have you seen the blue pearl yet? Okay, let's see the blue pearl. Who sees it? I do. Find out who you are. This is the knowledge that purifies. Two things happen. One, you're already pure. And two, as Swamiji used to say, the way to heal the mind is to get out of the mind. Stay as the untouched witness. Now, to prove the validity of the teaching, some of you may have come in here with some worldly problems, issues about my life, my job, and my future. Anybody come in with those sorts of things going on?
Always.
But I bet after we worked the knowledge, didn't they fall away? If the issue arises, who sees the issue? I do let it go. This is when the jnanam and the vijnanam, the understanding and the knowledge, come together at the same time. This is a praman. The scriptures become a means of knowledge. They are a setu. They are the bridge by which the teacher can pass the beatific vision on to the student. This is a shabda praman, means of knowledge through words. There is no purifier like knowledge. Now, if when we engage in Atma Vichara, Jim, nothing happens. I don't know what you're talking about. No blame. We just have to take a few steps back. Asana, pranayama, pratyahara, viveka, vairagya, ahimsa, satyam. Chant the name of the Lord, kirtan, kirtan. All these various practices the tradition gives us. I call it the yogi's heart back. the whole carpet bag of practices. Just pull it out to use what I needed. Until I can bring the mind into Tanu Manasaha. What's that mean? Is there a Hindi word like it?
Is that still
Thinness
thinness?
of
Thin.
mind. The thinning of the mind. Sattvic mind with the predominantly sattvic mind. Then Atma Vichara is fruitful. Anybody online have questions? So it's not either or. It's first them.
Jim,
Yes.
to clarify when you said who sees the flame or who sees the blue pearl, like I do. And you're like, that's yourself, the I.
Yeah.
And then you also during Atma Vichara ask, who am I? Is that the same I you're questioning?
You only have one eye.
Oh, there's not capital I and lowercase I?
Who sees the phone?
I do.
That's yourself.
Okay.
There's not two selves.
Okay.
There are wrong ideas
Okay.
of self.
Okay.
There are not two selves. Some people say, oh, you've got Jivatman, and then up there somewhere is Paramatman, you know.
Yeah.
No, there's only you. Tatvamasi, you are that. But what I do is superimpose all sorts of ideas on it.
And the question becomes redundant. Who am I just often leads to silence that just
That's what it's supposed to do. What it's supposed to do is withdraw the attention from the knowable and see what's left over. Now, you don't need to engage in another practice. I'm going to get rid of the world and now I got to go searching for the self someplace. It's you. It's you. But because of spiritual ignorance, I think I'm the body. I think I'm the subtle body, the personality. Does that make sense?
yes.
Good question. Good question. Always stay with I, aham. So our problem is not an ontological problem. Ontology is the science of being. It's not that I am a crummy little jiva and I've got to become Brahman or get glued on to Brahman or expand into Brahman. Those of us who've been studying the Mandukya Karika on Saturday mornings, you can't make the finite infinite. It's a contradiction in terms. And if the infinite grows and evolves, then it's not infinite. Do you see that? Either God is or it isn't. And what are the scriptures? Thunder. I am Atma, Brahma. This self is Brahman. Tatvamasi. You are. You don't become it. Now, what makes me not know it? What makes me get confused when I think I'm the body or I think I'm my problems? Spiritual ignorance. Adi Shankara says we can't say that Maya is. We can't say that it isn't. I'm thinking of an arithmetic problem. What is it?
You haven't told me.
How long have you not known it?
Always.
He's beginning with ignorance. 2 + 3 is 5. Where did your ignorance go?
When you told us.
It's gone. Was your ignorance a thing? It was the non-apprehension of the arithmetic problem. Do you see that?
Yeah.
So my problem is in my mind. I do not notice who and what I am. And then because of that, I have adhyasa. Who remembers what adhyasa is?
Superimposition.
Superimposition. Snake in the rope, snake in the rope. Good old Shankara. So just like if I don't apprehend the rope, I may think it's a snake. The rope hasn't turned into a snake, and the snake doesn't turn into a rope. You investigate. Oh, there's no snake there. Such is Atma Vichara. I think there's a person there who's so unhappy and miserable. And it seems so real.
It seems so real.
And it seems so real because of the noisiness of the mind, which is always rooted in sangraha, attachment and identification. So in order to achieve this chitta shuddhi, that's where the rubber hits the road. You can't keep smooching the snake. Smooching the snake and expect to find the rope.
Jim, when we can tune up around you, tune up throughout the day in a yo-yo state, and then perhaps some of us have phases where you feel like, as you say, the turd, the piece of shit the world keeps revolving around. We open up the yogi's bag of tricks, but sometimes they don't seem to work either.
I know.
What do you do during those times?
Well, the root cause of liberation is sadhu sangha.
Yeah.
So you might try hanging out with people who have your well-being at heart. That always helps, at least was for me.
Mm.
That's the first thing. And then remember this rule of thumb. The grosser the mind, the more meditative supports I need. Sometimes I'm so identified and attached, the best I can do is chant the name of the Lord. I know Setu, I don't know if you've been doing, but he's been telling me you've been hanging out with the ISKCON people over at the Bhakti Center.
We've both been chanting with them.
Yeah, this is great stuff.
It's a good time.
This is great stuff. It helps purify the head and the heart.
How do you know it's working, Jim?
Hopefully, you're a little more peaceful. But you know, if we go back to the qualifications of a fit student, and you guys have been through this, whenever Shankara makes a list, usually the first things are the most important. Maybe the first and second. And Swamiji used to say, if you're having trouble in your sadhana, go back to the qualifications of a fit student and get a tune-up.
Yeah.
What are the first two?
Viveka, Vairagya,
What's Viveka?
discrimination,
What between red and blue?
the self and the not self.
Brahma Satyam Jagamityeti Rupa Vinishchayaha. Soyam Nitya Anitya Vastu Vivekasamudharita. That firm conviction in the intellect that Brahman alone is real. The Jagat, phenomenal world, is unreal. Mithya, illusion, is called the discrimination between the real and the unreal by the wise. So how do we do that? In the beginning, you can start with impermanence. Every form in this world is impermanent. But a deeper level of viveka has to do we've talked about this in classes before, anyonya adhyasa. What's that?
Mutual superimposition.
Mutual superimposition. So I not only superimpose upon the self the qualities of the not self, but I externalize my own nature on the phenomenal world. I think Deepa is wonderful. She makes me so happy. Say too, he's a devil. He makes me so unhappy. This is why I don't even care about him. Isn't that what we do?
Yeah.
Yeah.
If this happens, I'll be so happy. The right job, the right house. And if that happens over there, I'll be so unhappy. These politics, this will make me so happy. It's right and just. They're terrible people. They're maggots. This is what we do. This is what we do. And that attachment and aversion is the superimposition of my ananda. The world is not good or bad. The world is essentially neutral. Shunyata. I superimpose joy-giving or misery-producing qualities. And then I believe that that's inherently so. And that's the cause of my misery. Ego says the world just won't behave. If only he would do it differently, if she would behave, if those people would do this, if I had that job, if I lived in this house. And ego says it's the wrong objects. They're not doing it right. And yoga says you've got to understand worldly happiness, sukham, and suffering, dukkha. They are the same thing. If I become attached to the world, I will suffer.
Jim, but certainly we spend some percent of time on that, right? I guess maybe we just try not to obsess about it, right? It's like, oh yeah.
You can act in the world without attachment. But if you're attached to the outcome, the more you're attached to it, the more you're jonesing for that outcome. When you don't get what you want, the more you'll suffer.
So I was reading this one book called The Surrender Experiment, and that author had this sort of thing. He just sort of assumed that whatever happened was for the best. Like maybe that's the way. Like you maybe try, but if it doesn't work out, okay, it must probably for some reason it didn't happen.
This is what Krishna says. He says, I am the karma paladata. What's that mean?
The giver of the fruits of
The giver
actions.
of the fruits of action. All we get in life is
The giver of the fruits of actions.
work. Thy right is to work alone, never to its fruits. Bang, 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 bang. How many times do we have to hear it? Man proposes, God disposes. If you want to know if God has a sense of humor, make a plan.
Mhm.
So you better enjoy what you're doing, because that's all you get. Now, he will say you have a better chance of a positive outcome if you act in the world according to your swadharma, your inherent latent proclivities, in the spirit of selfless service. You don't act in the world according to your inherent proclivities because I like it, and this makes me so happy, and this is what I want to do, and screw you all. That's not yajna. You see that? And then we have to renounce our attachment to the karma phalam, the fruits of action. And eventually, I can't move my little finger without holding the other ones. The renunciation of the sentence and agents. That's the hardest. It's the hardest. I'm not making it up. It's right there in Gita. We've been talking about it. 3, 4, and 5.
I have a different angle of questions.
Please.
So sometimes I have this like inner child tantrum about I didn't ask for my prarabdha or current karma.
Oh, you said you didn't.
I didn't like
Who wanted this situation?
like everything I know that I'm attached to is a function of nature and nurture in this lifetime and previous
You
life.
got it. And previous ones.
Yeah. So nature, I did not design nature. I did not like if my original
If
first
you
birth-
ate an entire box of C's candies and got sick to your stomach, you're a fool to say, I didn't ask to get a tummy ache. Now, you may have been ignorant that it would give you a tummy ache, but no God gave it to you. Do you see that?
No, but like even the desire is a part of Brahman, right? Like I think the system itself, it never gives me a good response as to why are we here, right?
Why you're here?
Yeah, why are we doing this business of living life? Like
Why does light move at 186,000 miles per second?
because Krishna decided so.
It just is. No, there's no God making decisions. That's making God in our image. This Hebrew Bible says God made us in the image and likeness of God, meaning you are consciousness. God creates sankalpena by means of imagination. You create your life the same way. But no God visited your bad health, your relationships, your people dying, stuff like that. And most of the choices we make in life, which turn out to be painful, we've done in ignorance. But ignorance of the law is no excuse.
No, but I guess I'm going one level deeper than that. Like the events are all fine, even if you live in full acceptance. The fact that you rebel against any of it or feel sad is because of nature nurture. It's because of what we've been taught is good versus bad.
Yes.
But the pure state does not differentiate between good versus bad. It's all okay, right?
Sweetheart, the self has no problems.
Exactly. That's what I mean. So
It's only the mind that has problems.
I'm just saying, let's walk it all back.
Walking on back, why is there a mind?
Yeah, I mean, this is just like
This is how the Lord created the universe. It just is.
So dissatisfying sometimes.
It just is. But let's look at the deepest nature of the mind. What is the dharma of the human mind?
To think and discriminate.
To get away from suffering.
It seeks happiness and avoids misery. From the moment you get up in the morning to the moment your head hits the pillow at night. That's all you do. Listen very carefully. That is the sacred Dharma. It is that impulse that is the engine for self-realization. Because the Swadharma, the Swabhava of a human being is God consciousness. That can have two meanings. The self in me is self-evident, but it means this is where we're all going as human beings. And what is the impulse? What's our response to misery?
Avoiding it.
I want it to end. And the only real doubts we have are what's causing my misery and where is the good? Those are the only doubts in the end. But that's why we're here, to come home to God. That's not Jim's opinion, although it's Jim's experience. It's the scripture. Does that answer your question?
Mostly. I still have doubts.
That's-
What, like, why did we have to leave to begin with? Why to come back? You know.
I don't know. Yeah, way above my pay grade.
Mine too.
We have to look at what is. You know, a lot of Western philosophers will say, why is not a particularly good spiritual question? And because human beings go causation hunting, that's what why is. We have mythology. Mythology is there for people who go causation hunting. Adam and Eve ate the apple and got evicted from heaven. That's why. We have creation story after creation story in the Puranas and stuff like that. That's for people who need a why because. Why do you dream?
It's the nature of the mind.
I dream because I'm lonely, and therefore I want to play with the people in the dreams. God created the universe. He created us because he was lonely. It's nonsense.
If that makes sense.
It's the nature of Brahman. Here's a very important question. Where is the locus of Maya? Is it in my mind?
Is the mind not in mind? I think it's the opposite, right? We say
The mind is in Maya. Maya is an inherent property of Brahman. The locus of Maya is Brahman. Just like it is the nature of the mirror to reflect. Just like it is the nature of the crystal ball to have images appear in it. It is the nature of consciousness for all this to appear.
Oh, can I ask a question?
Please.
I think it relates to Deepa's question also. I noticed some in the ISKCON tradition, and they also have sort of a different translation of this, which is their whole vibe is kind of like, oh, I can't wait to return to Krishna and get away from this material existence, and we're going to be liberated. And it seems like you're just kind of like chill. You're like, yeah, this universe is going on, blah blah blah. But I'm chilling. It's like it's not a big deal.
That's what they say.
That's what
No,
you're
that's what
saying.
you say. You're kind of like, yeah, that's just Maya, this and that. It's not really that
Chilling, I'm
real.
here.
Just kind of like let it. Sounds on Grand
I've
Avenue. No big
never
deal.
said that one shouldn't act in the world.
But you don't seem like an angst. Like, oh, I want to get
Out of here.
reunited with Krishna, so I don't have to be in the cycle of Maya.
I
And
think that's a
craving
great idea, but how do you do it?
and- I don't know. I guess
I'll
it's-
tell you how you do it. The path to the crossing over Maya that the rishis have laid down and that Mahatmas have done for thousands of years. Which my teacher learned from his teacher, and I learned from him. This is the knowledge I'm giving you.
Mm.
This is how you cross over Maya.
I see. So maybe it doesn't really matter if you're on that path. If you're working towards it, then you'll probably already be at peace.
And we have ideas. Ideas can get us closer to God, but ideas sure can keep us away from it. So I was talking with a particular person who's at Amaji's ashram right now. And she says, oh, I'm so impure, maybe 7 more lifetimes. Knock yourself out. If you want 7 more lifetimes, you can have them. That's like the person who's a drunk or an addict saying, well, I'll get sober eventually after 7 more relapses.
Oh.
Kind of realistic. Sometimes you have to get banged around a couple more times to.
Always.
Oh.
God, that's not planned on
This is so
7
sad.
It is possible, theoretically, to grow spiritually through inspiration. However, few of us do it. We almost always grow spiritually. Back to what I was saying about the inherent dharma of the mind as a response to our suffering.
Mhm.
When I get sick and tired of being sick and tired, I try to do something about it. When it finally gets drilled into my head, the way I'm approaching my life isn't working. And it always usually boils down to this. Oh yeah, I believe in yoga. I believe in, yeah, I hear Viveka Vairagya, yeah, but I want. It's not working. It's not working. Maybe if I turn it upside down, maybe then it'll work.
Oh.
Maybe if I get a bigger one, a blue one, if I go to another place, I can make it work for me.
Mm-hmm.
And the more I try to make it work, and the harder I struggle, the more I suffer. And then yoga says, not just the teacher, but the Lord himself says it. Adi Shankara says it. Ramana Maharshi says it. Swamiji says it. Viveka Vairagya Ch4. We talked about Viveka. Number 2 in Shankara's list is Vairagya. That desire. Oh, we're supposed to be free from desire. But this is a special kind of desire. It also implies we don't accomplish it overnight. To give up attachment to all experiences gained through the senses. Notice it doesn't say give up all experiences. You can't.
Ugh.
You can't. It's not about withdrawing from the world. And letting go of all identification with a form of self, starting with the body up to and including the form of Brahma, the creator. Some scriptures, they say you do these particular practices and then you'll be able to become a Gandhara, celestial being. But the easy way to understand that is when I think power, I'm in control. That's going to do it. Shankara says it all has to go. No exceptions. I want the snake to turn into a rope. I'm working at it. The head of the snake is turned into a rope. I'm improving. Work that way.
Jim, if you're working, you have a job or a project or whatever, and you're told to do it without detachment, with viveka and vairagya, how do you do that when you have so much to accomplish, so much to do, when you have somebody breathing down your neck saying this needs to be accomplished?
So they breathe. You do your best and let God have the rest. And never take it personally. If you make a mistake, you do your best to do better next time. If you've made a mistake, you acknowledge your wrongs and endeavor to do better. But you do it as seva. You do it as service. That's the way out. What kind of work are you doing now?
Similar to what I was doing before, Jim, nonprofit work, outreach, activism, fundraising.
At least you're not doing accounting.
Yeah.
There's improvement here.
Jim.
What?
Yeah, it's not accounting like it used to be. Jim knows how I feel about that. Oh, man.
But all your people you're reaching out to, they're all Krishna. And the people who are breathing down your neck, they're Krishna too. And understand that the vast majority of the people in the world are ego identified. No blame. But it means they're attached to outcomes. They're not yogis yet. So though we don't like their symptoms, we know why they're acting the way they do. They have fear.
Yeah.
They have attachment. But you don't have to buy into it. Nobody has the power to make me feel anything. Unless I give them the power. So you've got a rich husband. If they fire you, so what? You know what I mean. And the real employer is Krishna. You'll be okay. Be okay as long as you stay with, okay, God, what do you want me to do? But what if we twist it? What do I want to do? What's going to make me happy? And if we avoid discomfort, that's the thing. Understand, it's too late, Vishwa. You've stepped on the path. You're a yogini. Too late. We can't get off. Which means Guru will show up as the circumstances of your life. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
You can't live unconsciously anymore. Can't do it. And you have to understand, what is Guru bringing you through the circumstances of your life? you will be shown where you have attachment and aversion. Now, what is it? Do you have a supervisor who's kind of on your case a lot?
It's a lot of pressure, Jim. I work in fundraising in the nonprofit space
Yeah.
for climate change and
And who's
animals.
putting the pressure on you?
It's very indirect. They're very nice people, but I can feel it. Like there's an expectation.
Yeah.
Yeah, like you work for us, you have your salary, but you need to bring in, this many people.
You have goals.
Yeah, there are goals that they expect, right?
Yeah.
They're nice.
Tell me this is the first time you've had this feeling.
It's not. Too real.
It's not out there.
Oh, God damn it.
It's not out there. And when you can finally hear them say, these are our expectations, and you do your duty, I'll do my best to meet these goals, but not get identified and attached. And until you do that, the Lord will say, oh, my daughter, she missed it this time. We'll bring it around again.
Oh my God.
Hasn't that been your experience?
Yeah. How'd you know?
Because that's the human condition. Now, the fools who have no yoga, they done it to me. I'm a victim. Bad luck.
When you say don't, bless you, excuse me. When you say don't get attached and identify, don't get attached to the results and identified as the doer. Is that what you mean?
Both.
Oh,
Both.
okay.
But the thing, whatever they say, let it pass through. You graciously say thank you, and you do your best. And you'll either meet your goals or you won't. Do you believe in the organization? Do you
Yes.
believe in the work they do?
Very much.
Okay. You can do this. You can do this. But if it's important and it's hard, well, let me put it this way. Anything worth doing is worth doing badly. Because if it's important and it's hard and you haven't done it much before, you're not going to be very good at it in the beginning.
You haven't changed at all, Jim. It's all coming back to me.
Well, it's not me, it's the teaching, sweetheart. I have no original ideas. But you not only have a good memory, but like most of us, you've got a good forgettery. And luckily, the teaching is incredibly repetitive. I'm a slow learner. That's why I do this 5 classes a week. But it works. I should probably get a new shit. Oh, maybe I should be a car salesman.
Car salesman.
But
Yeah.
the world, go ahead.
Oh, sorry, I was going to say that I had a question.
Please go ahead, Ashley.
So you were talking about, the self and us, being Krishna. And I was curious if you would talk a little bit about longing for God. So for me, who's, a bhakta, and I relate to Krishna as in that dualistic, sort of side. Can you speak about that at all?
Absolutely. So Some people say bhakti alone is supreme. What you do is you love God until you disappear. It leads to the same thing. It leads to the same thing. And we all are attracted to a particular path according to our temperament. No judgment. There's no judgment. But if you love the Lord thy God with all thy heart and soul and mind and strength, and I don't care what name you call it, that will purify your heart. St. Paul says, pray unceasingly. That was his way of talking about japa. It's right there in Christian scripture.
Wow.
There's a whole tradition in the Eastern Orthodox movement of the Jesus prayer of the heart. It's Christian yoga. Practices are universal too. But some of us are not called to that kind of divine emotional longing. Doesn't work for us. So after Shankara talks about the 4 qualifications of a fit student, he then says, others say that bhakti alone is supreme. The constant attempt to live up to our real nature is also termed devotion. So, for example, Vishwa and Setu are absolutely committed to animal rights. Am I wrong?
You're right.
Are you devoted to that ideal?
Yes.
That's bhakti.
Oh.
You don't have to be, doing kirtan. You can be devoted to an ideal.
Wow.
I'm not making this up. Shankara said.
So an atheist can be devoted to an ideal too, Jim. I
Absolutely.
run into tons of atheists in my work.
That's fine. That's fine. One of the paradoxes in this Kali Yuga that we have, from all sorts of religious people, of all religions, who weep and cry in the temple or the mosque or the church, and then when it's over, go out and scream and yell at one another in the parking lot. And some of the most kind and generous and committed people that I have met think they are atheists. It's just fine. Krishna says, in whatever way people approach me, so am I to them. Well, we did what? 1 shloka tonight?
Good class.
2.
Two shlokas. But a very good discussion. Anybody else out there in Zoom land have another question before we sign off?
Actually, you did 1. Sorry.
We did 1, I think.
Yeah, that's so nice.
It's a lot in that verse.
Oh, well, the students create the satsang. And it's the students' questions and what they need that draw out what needs to be said. So with a completely different group of people, it would have been a different class. All right. Om Purnamada Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnamena Vashishyate. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Hari Om Sri Guru Pyo Namaha. Hari Om.